Welcome to this week's short tip. We're going to look at how to use the formula widget to manipulate your data to get it into a format that you need it in. This is especially true when you can't always have a reliable source of data. You can't control how they send you the data, so you need to cleanse it yourself in a more sophisticated manner. The explicit case that we have today is where some of the negative numbers come in what I call a counting format, and that is where the number is inside of parentheses to indicate that it's negative, as opposed to having it a minus in front. Sometimes you might also get your data with a minus sign in the back, but we're not looking at that situation today. More to the point, you just want to talk about how you can use a proliferary of functions inside of the formula widget to do lots of data conversions. And the solution I present with you today was just the way that I perceived it. Many different methods could be used to solve this issue, as well as to make it, as they call, more bulletproof. But let's take a look at what I did. So tweak your imagination on what you can do. When I do these little pieces of sample formulas, I usually like to have a set of data that I can test with, and I use the text input widget. In this case, it has 3 records in it: normal number, a negative number, and the accounting negative. I want to make sure I get good numbers out of it. You can see when I run it, this is what I get. So what we're going to drag down here, obviously, is the formula widget. And just to be complete about it, I'll put a browse widget on the end of it. This will cause we have to go back and modify this. We're going to create a new column. We can give it any name we want. Let's call it a number. To start with, we're going to keep it as a V string just so we can see how the conversion goes along until I'm finally done with it. And then at the very end, I will switch it back to a floating point number. And part of what we want to see with this is explain that you also make sure things do your manipulations incrementally. The first step all I'm going to want to do is to replace that trailing parenthesis with a null character or no character. We can do that with the replace char function. We need to, for the replace char, give it a input, which will be the in number. We want to tell it what to replace. In this case, we will put it as the closing parenthesis in single quotes, and we want to replace it with nothing, so we give it 2 single quotes next to each other. This will simply remove that trailing parentheses. We can run this at that time, and you can see that indeed we've removed the trailing parentheses. But obviously we are not done yet. So we'll want to go ahead and convert that leading parentheses into a negative. And we will do that with another replace. And what we're going to do here is begin to embed our manipulations. So we're going to replace from that previous replace as our input. And we're going to go ahead and replace the opening paren with a negative sign. No errors are indicated, so we can go ahead and run this. We can see now that our data looks the way we need it to. We do have a warning up here about having leading spaces in there. I would like when I'm doing something like this to go ahead and trim it as well, just to make sure that I get rid of the leading and trailing to make it a nice clean character string. And again, it's going to trim the previous. So I indent things just to make sure that I can continue to follow them through. So now we see that we've removed, all our data is okay, their extra space has been removed. The final thing we're going to want to do with this is change its data type to a float. And to do that as well, we need to convert that from a text string to a number. We do that with the toNumber. which gives us lots of options. But again, we're going to embed it, what we had done before, embed it in the middle of it. Again, I'm just indenting this so that it makes it easier to follow. So now when we run this, data looks good. We look at the metadata and we see that this a number is a floating point number. So we have successfully converted our text strings into good numbers. Hope this helps. Have a great day.